holiday for us.
Well, Star Trek Discovery After Show here on the Black Cast Entertainment Network, the YouTube extraordinaire, whatever we are. I'm Christian Blatt, joined as always by Nikki Bailey, and this week again joined as often by Flobito.
Hey,
Flobo Boyce.
That's me.
Flobo Boy.
I have a Star Trek show too, but we don't talk about that one apparently. But
No,
I'm so glad to be part of the Black Cast.
When you're on, I have to not call this show the Star Trek Discovery After Show because I'm always taking swipes at Will Wheaton and not promoting his. But I can't call this the Star Trek Discovery After Show because you can also find Commander's Log over on the Flobo Boyce YouTube channel. And where else can people find it?
Oh, you'll also find it live on Twitch when it streams and Facebook. So every Thursday night at 6 p.m. Pacific.
Hey, this show is on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch right now.
Are we on Twitch? I've never even been on Twitch. I don't even have Twitch.
The only comments that I've ever gotten from Twitch are usually like webcam girl spam messages. So, but if you're watching on Twitch right now, and you know what, even if you are a webcam girl account, you can just talk to us and let us know what you think of Star Trek.
Sure.
Let's dive in to season 3, episode 12. Nikki, overall thoughts?
When Jonathan Frakes directs an episode, you can tell it feels right. This episode felt right. It had the Star Trek diplomacy. It had some crew machinations. People were sending signals with Morse code. It was everything. I loved this episode.
If you have somebody cauterizing a wound with a phaser, Jonathan Frakes was probably
had to be involved.
Yeah, he had to be. We had the feeling last week that we just felt like it just sort of ended, and they kept us hanging. But I wanted more resolution. We got some more. What did you think, Flobo, about this week's episode?
Definitely a solid entry in this season. I feel like we're going to get to a conclusion that'll be more satisfying than not. And yes, I've heard the hullabaloo. I heard the hubbub about the fact that this episode seemed like Die Hard in Space, Under Siege, Galactic Size, or even Assault on Precinct 13. But why not? Those formulas work, and it works for a reason. I was on board.
The only thing missing was Burnham, essentially in the Jeffries tube, or as we like to call it, the ventilation shaft. Yeah, come out to Bajor. We'll have a few laughs. It was like when it had the Die Hard vibes, and then she lost her one boot, and you're like, uh-oh. And then she lost 2 boots, and I'm like, wait a minute. Those are nice boots. Let's not worry so much about the evil lady from the Emerald Chain who got sucked into space. I was worried about those boots.
For me, I was upset about the black on black crime. I'm just saying, why she have to flush another sister out the Jeffries tube? I'm just saying, black girl power.
Why don't you look at
black girl magic? I don't.
Can we look at it the other way? Why didn't she, when she saw Burnham, and be like, oh, you know what? I didn't see you. We're cool.
I didn't know you was a sister. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. Let me distract. Wait, you right.
And this concludes our segment, Black Alert. Live at the Christian Black.
Black Alert, yes.
Man, if I was smart and knew how to clip out content and have it go, I would that right there. That would have been it. But instead, people are going to just have to sit through the whole show. But it's only 4 minutes in, so I thought they definitely gave us a lot of excitement, and there was a lot of action, and also. Hey, remember your friends that were worried about in the nebula possibly dying of radiation poison? We'll see them next week. Don't you worry.
Oh God! I cannot wait till we get to the conversation before she flushed Stamets out. I can't talk about that. And Craig, I know I actually expected to hate this episode.
Wait, let me bring his comment. I saw that before. let's see. It was that Craig was surprised that you expected another blasting for this episode.
Yeah, I expected to blast this second episode, because I felt like last week they gave us a cliffhanger without a cliffhanger trigger warning, nothing.
Yeah.
And they just left us. And I'm like, since when is this a soap opera where you just leave at the end without a to be continued? So I was expecting them to full on disappoint me and make me hate them. But I was surprisingly pleased by this episode.
Well, and once you get to this point where you know that next week's the season finale, you know you're not going to get the resolution that we deserve at the end of this episode.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought that I think that the most interesting part to me was taking the time to make Osira a little bit more multidimensional than we thought. And I thought that, the conversation Stamets had with the Emerald Chain scientist was interesting. It's like, you know what, you might be right. She might be more than she appears to be, but she's also exactly what she appears to be. And he got to see that up close when for absolutely no reason. I mean, everything is fine. There is no reason to kill. Is it his name Ren? Like
Ren.
Yeah.
R-Y-N.
Yeah. There's no reason to kill him other than the good old fashioned Flobo. He needed killing.
How to do it?
There's the only reason she did. She's like, no, this guy needs killing.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I thought that it was, look, there's a lot of different ways they could have handled this. Osira and her friends could have broken into Starfleet headquarters, been underground, gone up in the elevator, and gotten the FBI to turn off the power so that they could raid the bank vault and get the gold they wanted out of it, But instead, this Hans Gruber wants to make a deal, isn't just asking for demands about the release of Asian Dawn, whom he read about in Time magazine. Yes, I've seen the movie a couple times.
A few couple hundred, maybe a few couple hundred.
Maybe every Christmas.
I do
movie. Don't do it.
I do too. It is a Christmas movie. We are not having that debate, but
I'm right. All right, that's good.
Yeah, because it happens at Christmas time and there's Christmas music in it. But anyway, because if it's not a Christmas movie, then Home Alone's not a Christmas movie. But anyway, it's more of a Christmas movie than National Lampoon's Vacation. Because there's a kidnapping for virtually no reason in that movie. Poor Bill Murray's brother. But anyway,
no, it was sorry, that's not this show. I was about to dive deep on National Lampoon's Christmas, but no.
But in any case, I thought that we got some really interesting. I don't know. They did more with Osira than I thought we were ever going to get from the character before she inevitably gets sucked out an airlock next week. And I'm just putting that out as my prediction. Okay, I didn't see anything. I didn't read anything. I just feel like we got people floating out into space. Osira is going to be one of them.
I feel like it was a nice way to introduce a character that could have some longevity. I think I really feel like she was she's an ambassador from the Emerald Chain, so there still may be the possibility for the Federation and the Emerald Chain to work together, and Osira may then become the villain to that giant to that community. Like maybe she doesn't agree on the terms, and she becomes the outlier and becomes the enemy of the combined Emerald Shield Federation. Although I have to say, the idea of a combined Federation Emerald Chain, rather, I keep calling it Shield. The thing I wrote in my notes is capitalism still fighting for it 1,300 years into the future. Still fighting for capitalism.
Shout out to Deep Space 234. I believe that was what number it was, which there's a lot of deep spaces to catch up on because I'm only up on Deep Space Nine. And
so 1 through 8 was a bore with a knife.
Yeah, but then you go right to But now I got to watch Deep Space 10 through 233. So it's gonna, and I'll watch all of it before I watch Lower Decks. But in any case,
cold, man, that was cold.
Yeah, a little bit. So interesting. There's some interesting comments in the chat I want to go back to, but this is relevant to what we're talking about right now. Troy points out, why did they need to break into Starfleet headquarters if they just wanted to make peace? Bit of a red herring. Yeah, I still wonder. I mean, sure, this is what she wanted. She came prepared with a deal, but I don't know that this was all she had planned. I still think she wanted them. She was like, oh, I don't get to meet the president. She wanted to get this deal signed, and I don't know, and then blow everything up or something. Do you think that she was as altruistic as she appeared, Flobo, or, yes, she wanted to make a deal, but to what end did she want to make the deal?
Yeah, this is kind of that pet the cat moment, right? You have someone you thought was a big bad, perhaps even one-dimensional, is doing things where I'm doing it for the survival. And you can sit there and argue, hey, you know what? She sat down with Vance. She took a bite at those shitty apples. You know what I mean? Her treaty was all docu-signed out. That was very considerate. But when it's all said and done, yes, it's kind of akin to stopping someone from hitting you by grabbing them by the shoulders and being like, stop hitting me. That's what you're doing here. Here's somebody that hijacked a vessel that's coming in peace. I don't know. I can't be trusted. So she
I feel like there's other ways to do it. And Craig says she's clearly hiding some of her cards. What were you going to say, Nikki?
She just that she's hiding. There's something she's hiding. She came prepared to negotiate, but she wasn't willing to negotiate the loss of her own freedom, for herself to have any accountability, which makes me think that she didn't actually come there with negotiation as her real goal. She came to take power. I think that Osira is really ambitious and wants to be the leader of the Emerald Chain. And so she came, does that make sense?
Because she was disarmed by Vance saying, this is before she was going to, have to be tried as the criminal that she is. But when he's like, well, who can be the face of it? It was like, she's like, oh, well, I guess it can't be me. She wasn't prepared. Like she was. Yeah. So I think that the way that she was approaching this was just like, yeah, I got all my stuff. And I'm going to go ahead and take your stuff too. And I'm not even going to have to fight you for it. I'm just going to get you to sign this. And can we talk about the projection that is trying to determine whether or not she's lying? And she made the observation like, Vance says the people got unnerved by there being a blinking red light whenever they were lying, and she points out that it's a human face. But it's it's this very, like, I don't know, bland, non-threatening face. I was a little worried by his bow tie though. The fact that they took the time to create an imaginary person, but they gave him a bow tie.
A bow tie.
Yeah. What did you think about? And I know they gave him a name, but I forgot it now.
Eli.
Thank you. What do you think of Eli, Flobo?
Well, I understand that in the future now you're going to have this personified things, and that's great, but it did help me as a viewer, because I felt like with the way Admiral Vance's face looked like all season, I was like, something ain't right with that guy. But it did help me to understand that, at least in this instance, they were at least negotiating in good faith. So even though it was kind of weird it was a human being, it could have been a robot, it could have been an algorithm, it could have been some wires. The fact that it was a person was kind of odd, but I like the fact there was like a mediator there,
Yeah, Michael B. says, given who she was, I assume they don't trust her, nor should they. She didn't mention about trying to figure out the spore drive, did she? That's true. I guess
she did not say that she had a scientist on board working on that. Yeah. So I mean, she didn't put all her cards on the table, even from the get-go. And she magically, weirdly has a British accent sometimes. Did
she not have a British accent last week? Because I don't think
remember that. And I feel like I actually went and looked her up again, because
she's still Lois Lane's daughter.
She's Lois Lane's niece.
And
she's from Ontario. So maybe but she shouldn't have a British accent.
But Ontario, Canada, and I can't believe on consecutive weeks I'm going to bring it around to this. Nobody on Degrassi had a British accent, So Drake does not have a British accent.
I come here for the Degrassi references, actually.
Which, by the way, you should, because what other Star Trek show are you going to get multiple Degrassi references in multiple weeks?
That's true.
How many people are going to call Drake by his character name of Jimmy Brooks? Not too many.
Ooh.
What were you going to say, Nikki?
Wait, you guys must be talking about the second Degrassi, because I grew up with a different Degrassi.
No, I know. Yeah, there's the one that we would have grown up with, and then there's the one that was not age appropriate for me, but I was fascinated by, and I watched it like my stories.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
all right, okay.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
I don't remember Drake being in Degrassi.
No,
but he
not
in Flobo's Degrassi, not our Degrassi. Obviously.
I never watched Degrassi.
Well, your age group, whoever you people are, your age group, you had your own Degrassi. But wait, I want to ask a question. Did we know before that replicator food was made from shit? Like, was that a known Star Trek
I've never
thing?
heard that before.
I had never heard that before either, and I was alarmed and horrified.
Anyone in the chat who thinks otherwise, please let us know. And also, Admiral Vance, could you have a little class? You're an admiral. You can at least say poop.
Poop, right? I mean, a little.
You know what?
If
you want to keep it clinical, excrement. There's so many other, but it's like you have to say shit.
Shit.
He's the admiral, not the president.
Yeah,
it's
what?
So untrickish. We don't. We don't.
You know what? That's on Jonathan Frakes. He left it in.
Whoever
wrote it, sure, but he left it in. He's like, no, we're not gonna film it differently. We're gonna have you say shit.
Come on, JF.
Yeah. Come on, number one.
It makes you wonder though, because how do replicators work? And I was like, man, that's gross. Well, okay, I accept it.
No, up till now, I have always thought that the replicators work like 3D printers, like 3D food printers. So have you ever seen a 3D food printer?
Sure.
I just assumed it was a faster version of that. I did not assume that it came from waste, though I have my entire life wondered what they did with all the waste on the ship. So now we know.
We do have the answer. Yeah. They eat it.
Thanks, Star Trek.
Yeah. Yeah, and look, I thought it was used as an interesting way of comparison. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe you've never eaten a real apple. He's like, yeah, but look what has to happen for you to be able to eat a real apple. I mean, so I thought that the negotiation was more interesting than it could have been.
Sorry.
Craig says, didn't Data give us a clue by saying, oh shit, in that Star Trek movie one time? No, there's swearing in Star Trek movies, but this is a Star Trek TV show. And I know it's on a streaming service. And I know that Tilly has dropped a number of F-bombs on this show.
It's just not
it never feels like Star Trek.
It doesn't feel like Star Trek when people cuss outright. I was going to say I forgot. Oh, no, here I remembered. The negotiation period allowed me time to not only get used to Osiris face makeup, but to decide that I actually really like the character. Like, I'm really interested in the character, and I want to understand more about her backstory. I want to understand her relationship to Aurelio. So it made that whole negotiation and the whole giving her a little more dimension than just being a bad guy made me want to know more about her. So I hope they don't flesh her out or an airlock next week. I hope she stays. I hope she stays and becomes sort of the villain that we love to hate for the rest of however long this show does whatever it thinks it's doing.
As we learned in episode 2, if you have an adversary that you can kill, you should. Because they always come back.
Tilly should have had known better. She should have had known, as they said in the Pulp Fiction, you should have had known fucking better, man. That's all I'm saying.
I don't expect swearing in a Star Trek review show. This is unheard
of.
It's a great point. It's a great point, Flobo.
You should expect swearing wherever I am.
My perspective is, again, I haven't seen Star Trek before I saw this one. So when I saw TVMA for this, I said, okay, yeah, if I was on this quasi-military ship, I would want more swearing. I'm surprised there isn't more of that stuff. But I can understand if you grew up with a certain way where the strongest thing you heard was, damn it, Jim, I'm a doctor, not a whatever. Well, maybe a bit of a shock.
And I mean, that's the difference is, if any of the previous Star Trek shows had been made for, first run cable, hypothetically, if like Enterprise had been made for HBO, they would have sworn a lot. And there would have been
a lot of boobs.
A lot of boobs, yeah, and I'm not even saying that would have. You know what? Especially because I use the example of Enterprise, it would not have hurt the show. Let's put it that way.
It would have made that show watchable, honestly. Throw some boobage in it. I would have watched it.
I do agree with Nikki and with our friend Troy here, who likes that we have Osira, and she could be sort of a big bad. He likes her, but tame down the killing. She could be the new Gul Dukat. Dukat, I suppose. But that's an interesting comparison. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely somebody that I don't think they're going to play nice with. I didn't quite realize that where Vance was building to was, well, obviously you're going to have to stand trial for your crimes. When you heard that, Nikki, was that like, he's just like, well, yeah, okay, I think we're friends now, but I'm just going to go ahead and throw this drink in your face anyway?
You know what it made me think? It made me think about this very moment in American history where we are now about to have a person who is very powerful leave the White House and potentially have criminal charges against him, and there are a lot of people
talking about Kayleigh McEnany.
Yes, that's exactly who I'm talking about.
I just want to make sure.
Yeah, sure. So no, but what it made me think about was the thing that I keep hearing people talk about right now in our day and age is that they want some accountability for all the things that have gone down. And so I think that would be true in the future, that people will want some accountability for all the things that Osira has done in the name of peace for the Emerald Chain up until that point. So I thought it was a great point. I thought honestly, I kind of expected it. I felt like there's no way she could be the face of this treaty. There's no way she could be a big leader in this movement if she's been such an evil bitch. So yeah, I kind of expected there to be some kind of reckoning. And it also made me wonder how much the Emerald Chain knows about what she does and how she behaves, and if that comes from them, the Emerald Chain, or if that's just her own personal form of colonization and domination. So
yeah, on this point, Craig says that he agrees with Nikki. The fact that the scientist Aurelio wanted to stay on the bridge, and he is the only one she's nice to, is very intriguing.
Craig agreed with me. Thank you. Yeah. I love me some Craig Robinson.
Yeah, and by the way, and then Troy chimes in. She's going to kill him because he's going to stand up to her. Oh, he's definitely standing up to her at some point. We are definitely going to say, you don't build up that character to have him not. Well, I guess it's insensitive to take a stand against her, but
figuratively,
yeah.
I didn't laugh at that joke.
None of us did.
We did not laugh at that joke. I will say that I'm really interested in what their relationship is, right? Because will she be able to kill him? Will she find out that she has? Will we find out that she does have a soft little underbelly somewhere? And could that be used to the advantage of the crew in getting out of this pickle that they're in?
Yeah, I think that and it reminds me that we should definitely focus on the crew. But I want to finish with sort of this Osira sort of delegation that comes over. She sits in the room with Vance and Eli, and was able to kind of head back to Discovery. I was surprised at how smoothly that went. I guess that's when you're the Federation and they make the point early that we're not going to start anything, but we'll definitely finish it if we have to. So if your helmet guys, act out of line, then we can go Federation on them. What did you think about sort of the whole thing, Flobo? Just sort of, the calm way that both parties handled this, even though it's like, you're still holding onto one of my ships, and the crew.
Yeah. It's one of the cool things I liked when I went back and watched TNG, those ready room scenes, the conference room scenes where it's like diplomacy and hashing out things. It shows you that, yeah, it's not all pew pew, and it kind of makes Star Trek different than a lot of sci-fi pieces there. Look, we all know Osira was a bad female humanoid. It could have easily been like banging the desk and this is what I want, but the fact that both of them are not so much clean hands and both of them are not so much evil just gave it a tons of realism. And we got to see more from Osiris, but we also got to see more of Admiral Vance because, like I said going in, I had a feeling he was like in cahoots, but this proves he's not because Eli's hanging out there telling me everything's happening, the truth. So it was one of the best character beats I thought for the season. I like that one a lot.
What if Eli is only programmed to tell if Osira is lying?
Ah.
That would be a crazy twist. I hope not, but that'd be a crazy twist.
Well, I think I did think about this. I assume that if Vance lied, he wouldn't say anything. So it's like whoever is, basically you're interrogating. That's the person that you're checking, so Vance could have been lying about everything. He could have, if we were keeping with the Die Hard theme, he could have had a phaser duct taped to his back and he could have gone for a stretch and then just vaporized her. By the way, what a great ending that would have been.
Like
this would have been a Christmas
black
for sure.
Credits.
We've already been talking about how much Trek is starting to feel like wars right now in this particular series. Sure. I can't allow you all to continue to make it into Die Hard. So just now stop. That's
then
enough.
They shouldn't have made a Die Hard episode. So.
It was very Die Hard-esque, yeah.
Yeah. But I thought that we had some good stuff. So, we've touched on it, and there was a lot of talk about this earlier in the chat. We had a lot of conversations last week about the mole. And does it just seem like there is no mole and that Osira just figured this out? Because I still don't, I'm like, wait, how did they, she talked about how easily they took advantage of Discovery and that they thought it was a trap. But I'm like, well, yeah, it was pretty easy.
It's a trap.
They needed to know something, So do we think that there was no mole? Do we think that the revelation of the mole is something that's coming next week? Or is the sphere data the mole?
I don't think there is a mole at this point. I feel like they figured out a way. We don't know what kind of technology they have. That maybe they figured out a way to track the spore drive in some, maybe there's some signature that it's been giving off that we didn't know. I don't remember how it, whatever. So I don't know. Maybe I want you to, if you can, at some point at 3:30, Michael B made a comment about the actor playing Aurelio.
Let's finish on this. I had looked.
I
just wanted to.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second for sure. But to this end, Craig says that didn't Book reference that they were tracking Discovery since his planet. So it just could be that simple that when you travel by means of the single most unique bit of technology in 1,000 years, maybe you're easy to find. So, but I still it made last week that much more shocking that there wasn't a mole. So there wasn't anybody on the inside that was helping them figure all of this out. But you know what? Knowing that you needed somebody to put a helmet on Stamets, I don't know. I still feel like they knew too much to be able to take charge of it.
You're right. How did they know? How did they know that they were going to need that?
That's really what it comes down to. The fact that you have a helmet designed to fit Lieutenant Commander Guy from Rent. The fact that you have that, it's like, okay, so you were extra prepared. I think that somebody tipped her off, but I don't know. I guess that they didn't want to tip their hands. What do you think, Flobo? Mole or no mole?
So last week I was on the mole train with you guys because you're right. It did seem pretty obvious that's what it is, but I'm not going to close the door on it. It could still be, but I feel like at this point it'd be one twist too many. Even though it's a plot hole then because there's the helmet for Stamets, I'd rather than just say they were clever and move on to, I guess, the ending of this episode into next episode, then say, oh, by the way, it was Michael Burnham or Adira or Book or what have you.
Yeah. But, lending to the idea that it's Adira, they did get off the ship and hightail it out of there right away.
See,
they sure did.
And it was only in that moment where I was correcting my misgenderization of Adira that I started to think, I'm like, wait a minute. What? They were really quick to get out of there. Maybe the mole. But I don't really think that's what it was. I do think that it was realizing that they could help prolong the lives of these important members of the crew, including the captain.
Yeah.
Let's backtrack for a moment. So Michael B had pointed out that the actor playing the scientist has MS, and they made the chair for him. So that
he has ALS.
ALS. Okay. So that actor, his name is Kenneth Mitchell, and this is his fourth on-screen role, and the first time as a human. He had previously played. This is all coming from Den of Geek. I'm just letting you know that I don't have all this off the top of my head. I'm obviously reading it. This actor Kenneth Mitchell played Cole, Kol, in Discovery Season 1, and also 2 other characters in Season 2. So I'm assuming that they were 3 Klingons. Also did 3 different voices on a Lower Decks episode, and then this character Aurelio is actually his 7th Star Trek character. And he's lived with ALS since 2018, and he has been confined to this motorized wheelchair since last year. So usually when we've seen him on the show, he's been in prosthetics because he's playing Klingon characters like Kol Shal, Tanovik. I guess those are all Klingons, but of course none of them are Flobo's favorite, Takuvma. But despite that, and it's look, I don't know, I think it's great that they figured out a way, it's just like, oh, we really like this actor and we can write this in. And look, I think he had something really powerful to say, that it's like, I don't know what it's like in your time, but in my time, any kind of genetic defect is not something that is accepted. It's I guess it's either corrected or just somebody certainly wouldn't be able to succeed at that level. And it does a good job of highlighting the fact that Osyraa is more than she appears to be. However, I think that, Stamets immediately tries to humanize the situation. And, it's like, oh, you got kids, I got a kid, I got somebody that, I need to get back to.
The negotiation there was I thought, like, from every procedural I've ever watched where there was a hostage situation, it was like, oh, let's make me human right away. I was like, yeah. And I loved that Stamets claims Adira as his child. And that made me well up a little bit. I knew that he did. You could tell that they were, but they had not said it overtly before. And I think that like him saying it overtly just got me a little verklempt, like a little verklempt. It's all right.
And also, everywhere. Also that conversation highlights the positive impact that his partner, Dr. Culber, has had on him, because, as Den of Geek pointed out, not because I remembered, in Season 1, Stamets talks about how much he hates opera, but Hugh enjoys opera, so he tolerates it for him. So then he gets so that he not only knows opera, but he knows Andorian opera. So they've
it's amazing what you'll do for love.
Yeah, it's like, can we get Stamets' Spotify playlist, because I want to know what else he's listening to.
What's hot in the streets?
Klingon gangster rap? I don't know.
Yeah. My new album is called Ascending, out next Tuesday.
Somebody please. I need you guys to tweet this out. Someone please do a Vulcan rap song. Has no one ever done a Vulcan? I mean, a Klingon rap song? A Klingon rap song? Has anyone ever done one?
No. I mean,
I need this in my life now.
The language lends itself, I think,
to hip hop. It does. It really does. You guys have bigger Twitter followings than me. Tweet it out that we need this to happen.
We'll solicit that. So since we're talking about Stamets, and because Troy mentions this in here, there is a very powerful conversation. How much of a wedge will there be between Stamets and Burnham going forward? I would say, I would say what, 930 years worth. I mean, look, he makes the great point that his family is there. And he also makes the point of, like, look what we all gave up for you so that you wouldn't be alone. Yeah. However, I do have to side with Michael in this moment. That
she was right. No, she was right.
Star Trek is built on the premise that the needs
of the many
outweigh the needs of the few, even when the few are, several of your lead actors and main characters and bridge crew.
Yeah.
So the only leverage that they would have against Osyraa in that moment is to get Stamets off the ship. And I don't know how successful he thought they would have been. Like, great, I'm just going to go ahead and fly us back to where we need to go. Well, you're still not going to have control of your ship. You're still sort of in the stasis field in Federation HQ. So, I just don't think he was thinking clearly. What do you think, Flobo? Do you think that Michael Burnham's heart shrank 3 sizes that day?
If you don't stop with the Christmas references, we're in a new year.
The Grinch is actually a Christmas movie, by the way.
This
right
here.
Hot take. The hot takes, man.
The hot take. The Grinch
is actually Christmas movie.
But only the Jim Carrey one is a Christmas movie.
Oh, absolutely. That's canon. No, it was actually Shakespearean because, you're right. Outweigh the needs of the many, outweigh the needs of the few. But Burnham didn't know what was happening on the bridge. And so it was one of those things where, just hold on. Maybe someone would come out and let you know something. And it did kind of pull my heartstrings a bit because, angry, distraught Stamets makes me all well up inside. But it was the right call. And I can't blame Burnham for that. And I was man, Burnham here's going to have a field day, but whatever.
I agree. I felt it was the right decision. It needed to be done. He needed to be off the ship. And I felt all of those things that he said to her. It was like being in an argument in a codependent couple when somebody brings up all the shit that they've done for you in the past, or like I hate, which I hate. That is no way to have a healthy argument, people. You do not bring up old stuff. But it was a necessary thing, and it did move me to tears. It moved me, like his desperation moved me to tears, and I was just like, but she has to. You have to understand. You have to understand.
Yeah, but I mean, also,
sorry.
I know she's not the first officer anymore, but I'm pretty sure she outranks him. So really what it comes down to, it's like you're going to have to listen to her even though you think it's right. And Troy makes the point, could Tilly have made that decision? I'm going to say that I think so, because I think she really was willing to blow up Discovery to keep it from Elvira. And I have never been prouder of Tilly than I was in this episode and look, everybody noticed the way she's so quick on her feet. And, she even says, if anybody drops, we got to keep going, So I think she's ready, even though she's just a cadet, as it was pointed out. Now, Flobo, you were underwhelmed by acting Captain Tilly last week.
Yeah.
Did this week change the way you feel about her, or was it just more of the same?
It's not her fault, but she didn't have much to do. It was like everything was happening around her. There really isn't any moments of redemption there. I did like her exchange with Book, when Book is like, I trust you more than everyone else, so I'll stay behind, in his cool accent. But yeah, I think I'm on board with it too. I think I'm more on board with Captain Tilly. I'm not a hater. Please don't flame me in the chat. I'm just saying, Nikki, I'm sorry.
If it came down to Captain Tilly or Captain Burnham, who do you prefer, Flobo?
Everything is leading up to Captain Burnham.
Yeah,
I do think the show is stronger when she's number one. I do think you need someone to have that Kirk mentality of being able to jump into adventure, but not be the captain at the same time. And Burnham can make that happen. So I will go with Captain Tilly there for sure.
What do you think, Nikki?
I would prefer, if I were a Starfleet officer, to serve under someone more experienced than Tilly. So I would prefer, if I were an officer, if I were there as a viewer, I want Tilly.
Would you possibly prefer a captain that had never been imprisoned for mutiny? Would you prefer that?
Yeah, that's one of those little details that you have to get you got to get past, you can't just keep dwelling on the past.
Yeah, and I agree with Craig. I think Burnham needs some authority above her to buck, because when there's no one even trying to keep her in check, it's it's a great point. I do think that I think Burnham had some tough decisions to make, and I think that just Tilly showed that she could be quick on her feet, and leaving Book and Rin behind, that it made the most sense. And I thought Book had the best line in that situation, which was that he knows that the only way that Michael's going to survive is for Tilly, is basically Tilly's the best chance she had.
Yeah. I wanted to say also that the reason that what's his name, Zahar, the reason he was able to capture Burnham, what is it?
Zara.
Zara. The reason he was able to capture her is because she was standing around crying again.
Yeah.
We done already just come on, man. Why you? If you didn't have to cry in every damn episode, you wouldn't end up in all the nonsense that you're in. Get your emotions under control. You was raised a Vulcan.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Dang. That's racist as hell. You were raised a Vulcan. You should be acting like this.
She should have a little more control. I mean, come on.
Like you do the neck pinch in the episode, so obviously it's like, you know, there's more. You know, don't just do it for all the flashy stuff. You should be able to be bound by logic at some point. And by the way, that moment where she's crying and Zareth comes up with the gun behind her, that shot is also taken from Die Hard. So I just thought it's worth pointing out that it was yet another instance where look, we know what Jonathan Frakes did in his week of pre-production leading up to this episode.
We're leaning in, y'all. That's what we're doing.
He watched all 5 Die Hard movies, and he's like, "We're gonna try and fit as much in there as we can."
Oh yeah, I forget about number 4 and 5. What the hell?
Most people
I have never seen 2 through 5. Are there really 5 Die Hard movies?
Yeah,
I stopped after 3. 3 was dope.
3 is really good because it was a different script. It was not written as a Die Hard movie. They bought it and turned it into a Die Hard movie. Jeremy Irons, Sam Jackson in his prime. This is like after
people I love. I would love all of that. Okay.
Yeah. Definitely don't watch Die Hard 2 ever. It is not good. It was
and the sad part is the guy who directed that one keeps talking about it. The director of Die Hard 2 presents. You're like, stop.
Yeah.
Rennie, no.
It was Rennie Harlan, the guy who did Cutthroat
Rennie Harlan,
right?
yeah, but he still puts that on all of his movies now.
Yeah. Well, because he can't put the guy who directed Cutthroat Island and put his then wife Gina Davis in as the star. So anyway, but this is what you get when you tune in for this show. And
content.
We're going to talk a little bit about Star Trek. We're going to mostly talk about Die Hard. We're going to touch on the different iterations of Degrassi, and who knows? There's still a few more minutes, so who knows?
We might get some Star Trek discussion in there at some point.
Yeah. So Craig commented on this. Is like the finger tapping. We had both Reese. Oh, I had the other guy's name in my head, and then,
Reese and Bryce.
Reese and Bryce, yeah.
Whose names are too similar. If I were the script, if I were the showrunner, I would have.
Yeah,
I would
exactly.
Come on, really?
No, I mean, honestly, just from as a writer myself, I have had to change character names. I have a thing about alliteration, and so I'll write a pilot and look back, and all the characters have the names start with the same letter.
Like, so I have Nikki Bailey, Christian Blatt, and Flobo Boyce, like that letter. Like, is that a problem?
It's a problem because it gets confusing for people.
We all have last names that start with a B, and that's a problem.
Okay, bye guys.
If we went by our last names, that would be a problem.
Yeah, absolutely. No, just kidding.
Oh, that was awesome, Christian. Oh my God, Christian, that was awesome. Snaps all around.
Always I don't know. I liked seeing how the crew works together, and I am a little bit nervous when we got the Huey, Dewey, and Louie droids show up as the hi, we're the Sphere Dater, and I'm like, uh-oh. I don't think I like those characters. You know, it's like Wally and Eva and
somebody in the chat earlier called them Wallies.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Wally and Eva and Twiggy from Buck Rogers.
Yeah.
So, but you had like these 3 little there's really like it's 3 Evas from Wally, and I was just like, all right. And I mean, I like that they at least set it up as like, you know, we've got all these old like Earth movies, and does it take up much room? No, not really. All right, we'll just get rid of it. And there was the cool Easter egg that when they were on the bridge at one point, there were all these monitors, and one of them was the same Buster Keaton movie. It was a close-up of his eyes. And that was, I guess, the little nod that like, yeah, the sphere data / control is involved in all of this. And, it's interesting because they're like, oh, do you want us to help you take back the ship? I was like, where were you before anybody had to get sucked out the airlock?
Okay. If you was there the whole time, could you not have stepped in? Which actually goes to the whole idea of the sphere, possibly being the mole. I mean, what if this is all being engineered by the sphere to a particular end? So I mean, I think there's something really interesting there. I actually hope that that's the truth. I hope that the sphere has been manipulating things this whole time to create a particular end. That would be interesting. Especially, I also thought it was really interesting that Burnham took a moment to call her mom. And I thought, okay, so her mom is now part of the
Kawat Malat. No, Kawat Malat. I don't know. I didn't pronounce it right.
I can't remember what it was called.
I think it's Kawat Malat.
Yeah. So they only intercede in lost causes. So I feel there's a possibility for her mom to show up in the next episode with the little.
Oh yeah, that subspace bye mom note was definitely a coded SOS for help. Because she phrased it in a very specific way and, explained the situation in a way where, maybe if time is of the essence, maybe just say, yeah, Mom, I don't think I'm going to make it. I'll see you on the other side. But instead, she goes into the specifics. So, yeah, I do think we'll see Mama Burnham, Gabrielle Burnham. I believe we'll see her next week. Probably right at the moment where it seems like
her first name is Gabriel?
It's Gabrielle, yeah.
Yeah.
It's Gabrielle.
Yeah.
So she's the angel Gabriel, and Michael is the angel, the archangel. Oh, I didn't even make that connection before.
Red Angel, yeah.
Well, I mean, they both are named after the two most powerful angels in angel stuff.
She's named after Michael, the angel that John Travolta played in that movie, Michael. Yes, exactly.
Oh, yes. That should be sphere data.
No, there you go. That is not a movie I thought I was. When I got up this morning, I did not think I would mention that movie at any point. So.
No one thought that way.
No one.
I was actually torn.
John Travolta's like, what?
Yeah, I was about Broken Arrow, Christian.
Yeah,
No, this is more of my religion, my seminary geek religious.
Anyway, Flobo, sorry, what were you in the middle of saying?
I was torn, and I mentioned this on my show. It was.
Well, go ahead, tell them where they can find it.
I think I find it at youtube.com/FloboBoy. It's called Commander's Log.
Yeah.
When they showed up, the Huey, Dewey, and Louie robots, I was like, oh, really? My first reaction, eye roll. Are you kidding me? This is going to be we're here to serve you. Like, I felt like, and I said Gazoo from the Flintstones. It just made no sense to me. But the more I thought about it, I said, okay, well, they put the season all semester, all season. You had them on the bridge at Starfleet. You had them with the episode with getting the morale up. So it was fair. But why did my knee-jerk reaction go, ugh? And I think it was the animation. I think that they cut the corner on what that was. It felt like cartoons. It felt like a whole different world. And having Tilly react to nothing, being like, okay.
They had spent so much money, but now it's the end of the season, and it's like, oh, we don't have any money left. Things cost more because we did post-production, under quarantine circumstances. You know what? It'll be fine. We'll just put some animation in there. Interesting that you mentioned the Great Gazoo, because my theory, Great Gazoo, member of the Q continuum. And the reason I mentioned that is because before the show even started, Flicks asked, why didn't the Q prevent the burn on Star Trek Discovery? And I will tell you why the Q continuum didn't do that. Because they didn't want to. That's just not the way. Of course they could have done that. But I don't think that the character who caused it that we saw last week, the child, the Kelpian child, I don't think he was Q, and I think they were aware it was happening, but they don't need to do anything to help humanity. That's completely out of character for them to do it. But I thought it was a good question, but it's like, oh yeah, we see that happening. You know what's more interesting than stopping it and helping them? See what happens.
What happens? Yeah.
Watch it burn, literally.
Yeah. No, I think the Q has been really clear. I mean, about what their interests are in humans, and it's not that they're not, first of all interested, and it was really just that one Q who was, well, not, I don't know.
Well, the one that we call Q,
the one that we call Q,
John Delancey Q is you could call him Q Prime, but that's a management company, so that's probably not what we should call him. Oh my God, Flobo really is gone now. I didn't do that. I think he told us before we started that he was hungry, so maybe
he just couldn't handle it anymore.
He's like, if you guys are talking Q, I'm gonna have to. He thought it's like this turned into a QAnon meeting. You know what?
A brother needs a snack. I gotta go.
Well, we hope he comes back, but if he doesn't, and I know, Nikki, you usually have to go in a minute or so. So, so what are we hoping for next week, Nikki?
We are hoping for
by the way, it'll be Thursday. It's already this week, but anyway,
it's already right. So we're hoping for Burnham's mom to come to the rescue.
Mm-hmm.
We're hoping for the Sphere to reveal that it has, for me, that it has been somehow participating in all of this all along. And so I'm hoping to find out that the Sphere has been engineering some of what's been going on. And maybe I don't think we let go of the mole idea. I think that the Sphere as the mole could be a real possibility.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely inclined to agree. I think that the Sphere data is going to be heavily involved in sort of the resolution of all of this, and I think that they're just going to set up something even crazier for next week. And Flobo's back with us. Hey. Nikki, since I know you have to go, Nikki, Flobo, I'll just keep you for a couple more minutes. But Nikki, for people that want to keep in touch with you, where would they do that?
I actually have 2 more minutes, so I will stay for that. But you can find me on all the social medias at Nikki Bailey _ except for Snapchat because I don't get it. And you can find me at my website, NikkiBaileyComedy.com.
And Troy says, doesn't it feel like it's been done having somebody come to the rescue at the end? Yeah, look, the Kulat Malat, the Navarans, I do think we're going to get that, but as Craig sums it up, the ninja nuns to the rescue. Yes. I do. Look, I think we are going to get the ninja nuns to the rescue. You don't set it up that she's part of this order and then not utilize it.
Yeah.
So that's what we expect to get. What are you looking forward to or expecting next week, Flobo?
I want the return of Commander Nan. Why she was written off like that? I want answers.
Well, you had the theory was put out there last week that she was the mole.
Yeah. Well, that'd be so weird if she was. I definitely want to see everything come together. I mean, I'm not saying that we should have everything in a loop, but we saw a lot of these secondary characters. I mean, we saw some of Book's clan, I guess, people.
Yeah.
If that giant Avengers moment happens, I'll be over the top, over the moon. Why not?
All right. Well, we will see what happens, and we appreciate everybody who was so engaged in the chat, as always. Now, our next show will be the season finale, and we will be doing it this Friday, I believe at 3:00, the usual time, and we'll see who joins Nikki and I then. But Nikki, you already said where everybody can find you, and I mean, I don't even know that Snapchat's still a thing, so I think you're fine without it.
Oh, good.
But Nikki, we'll see you on Friday. Live long and prosper.
Live long and prosper, y'all.
All right, and Flobo Boyce, I got in the comment about the ninja nuns to the rescue. That was what I really wanted more than anything else. So Flobo, if people can't wait until we do another episode of our after show,
sure,
when can they find the Commander's Log episode that'll be reacting to the season finale?
I want to say thank you so much, being on the show so many times this season, just, being able to have exchange. It could have been a West Side Story thing, but, my show, Commander's Log, is available every Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern on youtube.com/FloboBoys. It's a lot of fun. It's more of a comedic take. We don't really pay attention.
But do you talk about Die Hard and Degrassi?
We should have. Last week was all about Twisted Tea and the Green Lantern Corps, so we're kind of off the rails.
Obviously that all makes sense. And new content every week at flobito.com. And I know that I'll be doing an after-hours show with you. Will people see that on Monday, or will it be posted after the fact?
It's done live every Monday night. So next Monday, Christian Blatt himself will be on After Hours. So we get to ask him all the questions you want to ask, all the personal questions, all the nitty-gritty ones. Hit me up on YouTube. Say, Christian, I have a question for that guy, and let me know what's up.
And Craig Robinson says, need me more new content. So Flobo is your man. New content every week. Not just every other week. Not twice a month. Every week. Flobo, we always appreciate you taking the time to sit in with Nikki and I, and thank you for having me on Monday. That'll be fun. So everybody in the chat, like I said, it's always great fun to have people that are so involved and usually so much smarter than we are. You guys have all come up with theories that I wish I had thought of and I could take credit for, but I can't. So make sure that everybody is with us on Friday at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern for our finale. Until then, live long and prosper.